Hello class, how are we doing today? So for our virtual field trip, I wanted to take us somewhere cool, maybe a little bit historic, we could learn something. So I thought, where better than Thurmond, West Virginia. This place is a gold mine for history, especially history about the Industrial Revolution, which is what we're learning about right now. So right here, I am standing at the passenger depot, and it still runs today because we still have a train that runs in Thurmond, West Virginia, the Amtrak. Fun fact, Miss Whitten rode on it one time and it was the coolest thing ever. So let me tell you about this passenger depot. Back in the 1800s, late 1800s, 1900s, during the Industrial Revolution, people mostly rode on trains, and we used trains for transport and all kinds of cool stuff. So basically, we would use this passenger depot as like a waiting room. You know how airplanes, they have an airport where you get on and off of the plane, and there are, you know, bathrooms and snacks and all kinds of stuff. That is basically what the passenger depot is for. You can get your baggage, they have places where you can get snacks, they had bathrooms, they had waiting rooms, they had newsrooms, and that is all on the first floor. And if we look up here, we've got a second floor. And on this second floor is where they would send out telegraphs and where the conductor would have his office. And basically, another thing about the Industrial Revolution was that telegraphs were a really good way to communicate between train stations and between people. So if they needed to send a telegraph to let somebody know, hey, our train's running late, so will you let the people know that are waiting on the train that we're gonna be late, they can tell it instantly. So the Industrial Revolution brought a bunch of really cool things, and this really cool piece of history, this passenger depot. So it's still called Thurmond Station, and right here is where you can get onto the train. See, it still functions and everything. Guys, the wind. Look at this bridge. Amazing! Okay guys, we have reached the commissary. Super cool. I know it says post office. Let me get into that. So, during the time of the Industrial Revolution, do you like how I've said that about a million times? This was a place that gave food, water, resources to the railroad workers who worked really hard to build this beautiful railroad for us. So they would come into work. They could even give some of their paycheck to the commissary, and they could come in anytime they want, get anything they want, and it would be free for them. Free. They would have to set aside some of their paycheck. But it then became a post office in Thurmond, and then finally it's pretty much been abandoned. But we have a beautiful little bench here for me to sit down. This has been a wonderful tour. I'm so glad you guys have come with me. Well guys, what do you think they use this for? Let Miss Whitten know. So the train goes right through the town. As you can see, it's all very abandoned. Sad, but this was a booming town in the 1800s and 1900s. Oh, she's spooky. Guys, Miss Whitten was silly. She was like, where are these water tanks? I cannot figure out where these water tanks are. Where are the tanks? I can't tell my students about the tanks without the water tanks. Until I realized these are the foundations of what used to be the water tanks right here. Isn't that crazy? So, do you remember how I told you in the coaling tower that steam locomotives were really popular during the Industrial Revolution before the diesel locomotives were created? So, you have to have coal for a steam locomotive. What else do you have to have for a steam locomotive? Let's think. Steam, water. So, they had 2 water tanks built, both of them containing upwards to 300,000 gallons of water in all. And what they would do is they would drop this water into the locomotive to make steam for the locomotive to run. And it's actually so crazy. So what happened to these water tanks was that they were removed. Can you believe that? They were removed entirely, and all that's left is the remainder of what used to be. Now, I set up my camera here to show you how big one of these things are. Can you imagine how tall this is? How many Miss Whittens do you think it would take to get to the top of these water tanks? I mean, it had to be up to the moon in water. Okay guys, this is really awesome. So, we have the coaling tower. So basically, in the Industrial Revolution, before the invention of the diesel locomotive, we had something called a steam locomotive. And these steam locomotives were powered off of steam and coal, so the invention of the coaling tower. So basically, coal trains would come in and they would drop their coal into a pit that went into that elevator right there, went all the way up to the top, and when a new train would come up, there is a chute, the series of chutes right through here, they would drop the coal into the locomotive so that it could be powered. Super, super cool. It's been pretty much abandoned, but look how high that is. How many Miss Whittens do you think it would take to get to the top? I don't know, but the coaling tower. So this is the pit right here that the coal would go in through. Danny! Danny, where did he go? We got the town hall. Look how cute! Look how small it is compared to the tower. Insane. Oh my gosh, Eli, what is that? Wow! Look at that, class. That is awesome. Guys, Miss Whitten found an Airbnb in Thurmond, so you can stay here with your family and explore the whole town. How cool is that? Guys, Miss Whitten was walking up and down Thurmond, being like, where is the engine house? Where is the engine house? I'm standing where the engine house used to be. So, I'll tell you a little bit about this engine house. So, the engine house was built in the 1900s, and basically it was like a car mechanic shop, but for trains. So, trains that maybe needed some maintenance, they would come through into the engine house, and it was employed by about 50 to 70 men, and these men would literally work on the trains all day long, and they would make sure that they were in tip-top shape, send them out, do the same thing, until about 1960, when trains weren't really used anymore and the invention of cars took over the world. So it became an actual car mechanic shop until the 80s, when it was abandoned by the car dealership, or the car shop, maintenance shop, and then in the 90s it burned to the ground and there was nothing left. So Miss Whitten is silly and she could not find the engine house. Little did I know, the engine house is not here anymore. So I'm silly. You have another place you can pick up your bags. This place is amazing, class. Students, check this out! We found a waterfall! Wow! Students, thank you so much for watching this virtual field trip, and I hope you learned so much about the Industrial Revolution and Thurmond, West Virginia. I highly recommend that you visit if you get the chance. It was so awesome, and I learned so much. I'll see you in class. Bye, students!